Do you struggle to achieve realism with your coloured pencil portraits? I did too, but with these handy tools, I found it much easier to achieve that realistic look, and I noticed a huge improvement in my work. I'm here to show you how you can do the same, starting with the Tombow Mono Eraser. So this works like a mechanical pencil, but instead of having lead running through it, you have a long, thin eraser, and you can refill these as well. As well as being great for removing your graphite outlines, this unique eraser is also great for adding in subtle highlights to your work. Here is some pencil on my usual paper, the Fabriano Artistico Hot Pressed, and to create highlights I use different pressures with the eraser. I can take off as little or as much of the pencil off as I like. This is especially helpful when drawing fur and manes in horses, to give subtle highlights and a range of different tones. Here is some mane I've drawn, and as I want to get some more depth and subtle highlights that I mentioned, I can just do this. And already you can see it noticeably adds more depth. By going over the same area, you can lift off more pencil to give an even brighter effect. I love this tool and I use it in almost all of my drawings. Up next we have the putty rubber. This eraser is practical for many different reasons and I use it in absolutely all of my works. Firstly, I love the putty eraser as it doesn't leave any residue or eraser dust, which can be messy at times. I often have it at hand to erase my graphite lines, but I especially love it for keeping my work tidy and smudge free. You can be as careful as possible whilst working, but I always end up getting some kind of mess or smudge on my paper. And I'm always asked how I keep my paper so clean. And the answer is this guy. You can get many different brands of putty erasers, but my favourite one is the Faber-Castell one that comes in this convenient little plastic pouch here. Every now and again whilst I'm working, I like to clean up any smudge marks that I make, but by the end of a piece, 99% of the time is used to clean up my page. But as well as that, it's great for adding textures to your work too. I like to do this by dabbing the putty rubber onto the pencil to lift off some of the pigment, which leaves a lovely textured effect. This works well when drawing dogs' noses and you're trying to get that bumpy, rough texture that you're looking for. There is one small downside though, and that is it can be quite unpredictable and you can't be as precise with it and you can't guarantee the outcome. So just have a play around with it first and get to grips with the different effects and textures that you can make. What I do is erase some of the pigment by dabbing it lightly, then go back over some areas with pencil, and then I dab a little bit more, then go over with more pencil and keep repeating until I have the desired effect. Remember, if you don't like the effect that is given, you can just go back over it with pencil. It's not permanent and can easily be undone. Do be careful though, because if you have a puppy, they will try and steal it, run around the house with it in their mouth, thinking it's a great game to wind you up. Next up is this cool little thing, and what is it, you may ask? It is actually a clay modelling tool, but I use many of these within my colour pencil work and they're an excellent piece of kit to add to your must-haves. So what this does is it indents the paper, so when I put my colour pencil over the top, the pencil doesn't go into these indentations that you've made and you're left with the white of the paper showing through then. This method is perfect for when creating whiskers, fine wispy hairs or tiny details. In the following example, I am making some marks on my usual paper with the size that I feel will work best. So this has two sides with two different sizes, one small one and then one slightly bigger one, so they give different effects depending on how thick you want your indentation lines to be. I'm using this slightly larger side to have thicker lines. Once I've done that, I apply my pencil over the top, and because of the indents that I've made, the pencil just glides over the top and doesn't go into those grooves, leaving that white of the paper showing through, which is then our whiskers. Perfection! Last but not least, this gadget has been growing in popularity with coloured pencil artists over the years, and there's a great reason why. I have a few different versions of these and they all come in super handy for creating different textures, highlights, adding in tiny details and more. And that is slice tools. These work by removing some of the layers of pencil off the page to show the whites of the paper coming through without marking the actual paper. Kind of like an eraser, but you can execute a much more precise and clean effect. So these are made with a ceramic blade, which makes them super safe, so that's great if you are an accident-prone klutz like me. I currently have the craft knife, the pen knife, and the precision tool. These tools have a different range of blades. My favourite and most recommended blades are the ones with a slight curve to the edge of the blade, as they are softer on your page and less likely to tear and they're more fluid to use. And if you want to learn more about using the slice tool, click on this video right here.